Welcome back, everybody. It is week 4. Can you believe it?
It's week 4?
Week 4 in the NFL.
I thought it was week 3.
Week 4. Time flies when football's on.
Yeah, I guess.
Speaking of time flying, it's been 19 games since the Browns won.
Yeah.
And they finally did. Mm-hmm. And I'm the only one that called it here on the show. EDP, who took the Browns the first 2 weeks, did not take them this time.
But he took the Bills.
Took the Bills. We'll talk about that later.
Unbelievable.
And somebody, actually, one of the guys who did the picks this week ended up taking the Bills and the Browns and ended up finishing only 9-7, which tells you about the shenanigans that happened this week and the fact that you can't predict. And Pat was telling me this before. It goes to show that I don't care who you are. I don't care how many years you've played the game. I don't care how many years you've analyzed the game. At the end of the day, no one knows anything.
That's exactly what I told him the other day.
That's what it is, because when you have the Browns beating the Jets and you have the Bills, this was like makeup sex when you literally got into the biggest dispute of your life and your relationship, and you break up, and then you get one night and you hate this girl or you hate this guy or whatever the case may be, and somehow the stars align and you're going right in for it, and it is all over the place, throwing you up against the wall. Just hate fuck is basically what it is, and that's what the Vikings did, or the Bills did to the Vikings. But let's go to this Browns game. At the half, it was 14-3. And the rumor has it that Tyrod Taylor faked being hurt so he could get out of the game because he was getting annihilated.
Yeah.
And by the way, 635 days since the Browns last won a game. And Baker Mayfield came in, who everybody, when they drafted him first, everybody was in an uproar and everybody was yelling at everybody else, and there was shenanigans and chaos and popcorn flying around and everything else. And utter chaos, and then he ends up coming in and looking like, Doug Flutie. And 21-17, the Browns end up winning the game. Now, Todd Bowles, or not Todd Bowles, Conley there. What's his name?
Who are you
Conley.
talking about?
Tomlin. Jeez, I'm exhausted. Mike Tomlin, thank God, he's probably thinking, thank God that wasn't me. Because no team would have wanted to be the team to lose to Cleveland, to break that streak up, but especially when you were winning 14-3, and it didn't look like anything was going to happen ever.
Sure.
Carlos Hyde, 98 yards, 2 touchdowns. Mayfield, a pedestrian, 201 yards, but made plays and ran around, and look at me.
Yep.
Jarvis Landry had a big game for them, 103 yards receiving. So there's that. I also picked the Saints, and they went marching one by one, hurrah, hurrah, and they went into Atlanta. And they beat him in overtime, and this is it. This is New Orleans every year. The defense is horrific. The offense is just a tad better. Towards the end of the year, the defense gets a little bit better, and you start thinking, oh my God, this could be the year they go back to the Super Bowl, and they probably will win it with their explosive offense.
No.
And then they end up doing what they do. Breeze, he's 1,000 years old. And it's interesting. Nobody's talking about what Breeze is able to do at his age.
Sure.
As much as they are about Brady, what he's able to do at his age. And they're almost, what is Brady, a couple of years older than Breeze?
Yeah, I don't think Breeze is he 40 yet?
I think he's 39 or 40, yeah.
Yeah.
He might even be 38.
This was a great game. This is, what everybody expected it to be. A shootout, 2 great quarterbacks, 2 great offenses on a field that is meant for teams to go back and forth. Turf field, up and down. For the majority of the game, the Saints were up, and then Atlanta came back, tied it up, took the lead, and then the Saints took the ball, went down, scored, and Atlanta went down and scored, and then the Saints came back, and Drew Brees had a snacks, snacks Arvidon over the top, over the top of the sofa, and then they score and they win the game. So I think the AFC South or NFC South is always the same team never wins back to back, but I think now with Tampa in the flow, even though they had a tough loss, but I think they you have 4 legitimate teams all in there, and You would think Atlanta would be the favorite, but they just lost at home to New Orleans, who looked terrible in their first 2 weeks. So basically, those teams are just going to beat themselves up, and whoever can play better out of conference will come out on top. But it was a shootout. Everyone expected, and it was a good back and forth game.
Chiefs and 49ers. Now, this means there's a bunch of stuff that happened in this game. Number one, even before Garoppolo was lost for the year, they were down 14-0 after one. Mm-hmm. Mahomes threw another 3 touchdowns, no interceptions. He's on pace for 80-something touchdown passes. 13 through 3. I believe, 13 through 3. Kelsey, 114-yard receiving game. Chiefs are undefeated. They look like they can go 16-0. Same with the Rams. We'll get to the Rams later. Let's take a look at Kansas City's schedule, and let's see, as of right now, could they lose? Let's see. So they got the Broncos. They're in Denver for a Monday night game. That could be a tough one. We'll see. I think they'll win that by. It'll be closer than the people will think.
Sure.
Denver still has a pretty good defense. Jacksonville, that also could be a tough game.
Where is it?
At home. They're home against Jacksonville. Then they go to New England. With the Patriots face them, and as of now, it'll be Kansas City 60, New Orleans 10. We'll get to my Patriots rant later on.
Yeah.
Bengals. They're going to beat Cincinnati. So right now they could lose to the Jaguars. They could lose to the Broncos. They faced them twice, obviously.
Yeah.
They have the Browns. They have the Cardinals. They have the Rams. That could be a loss. But the Raiders, Ravens, Chargers, Seahawks, and Raiders again. I see them going undefeated in their division. I don't see them.
Very rarely teams go undefeated in their division.
Well, if they lose one, it'll be to Denver. That's my prediction. But anyway,
I don't think even if they, I would never. I don't think it's a good thing to go undefeated. I think you need to get a loss out of your system. As we saw firsthand back in 2007. I think Kansas City is clicking on all cylinders for the first time. Since Andy Reid has been there. Everything that they're doing is working on the defensive side of the ball, the offensive side of the ball. Mahomes is, he's the real deal. He's doing everything right. He's not turning the ball over. He's, scoring touchdowns at a high clip. And, if he continues to do this, Kansas City is going to be, one of the 2 favorites, them and probably Jacksonville, to come out of the AFC. I think Kansas City for sure is clearly the best team so far in the AFC. I think Jacksonville's right up there as well, and then from there, you can really, I'm still hesitant to put Miami up there.
Have to be.
We'll see about that, but at the end of the day, I think if Kansas City keeps on doing what they're doing and they stay healthy, that's the biggest thing, and that's why you can only take it 1 week at a time. And but if they do continue to play their will, they might create such a distance in between themselves and the second or third best team in the AFC where they can lock in home and field advantage. And I know it's a ways away, but Kansas City is a tough place to play. It's unbelievably loud. It's like a bowl stadium, and they have everything clicking right now. So. With that being said, I think the AFC as a whole is very average at best, other than the 2 top teams there. As we will talk about New England in a little bit, how far down they've dropped. But I think Kansas City will be there. As far as San Francisco goes, they got down big and they came back, and obviously everyone knows about Garoppolo going down. He's out for the season. And the season's pretty much over, and that's the guy they couldn't get away from last year, CJ Beathard, is garbage. So unfortunately, you're gonna have to wait another year to see Jimmy G again. So there are some, I don't want to say smiles in Foxborough, but for this year, the trade worked out. If you want to take it year by year. But, other than that, I don't know if you had anything to say about San Francisco.
No, it is what it is. At the same time, he may not even be, we don't know if he'll be the same quarterback, too. I mean, you look at Deshaun Watson. So, at the end of the day, we'll see what happens there, and we'll see when he comes back next year, and if he'll be the same guy or whatever. Even this year, he really wasn't playing at the clip he was playing at last year. So that's the other thing.
No.
He even before the injury. So, was he serviceable? Sure, but was he what we thought he might be based on? No, he wasn't.
It's almost like they had rained. It's almost like they let him just go play his game last year,
and now
now he's got some reins on him. Like they think they have a good shot at winning, so they're not going to. And when you look at the play that he got hurt out of. I forget who was it. Justin Houston made the comment. He's got to get out there. The extra yard there is not worth.
Extra inches.
It turned out to be a play that is going to end his season, and we'll see how he can recover. But it's going to be tough for the Niners the rest of the way.
Tough for the Niners, also tough for the Raiders. This is the third game they had a fourth quarter lead in, and also the third game they lost. Dolphins 3-0 for the first time since I think 2008, either 7 or 8, I forget which. 3-0, and they face New England. They go to New England though, so who knows? Supposedly Josh Gordon will be suiting up, but Derek Carr had a good game. Here's the thing though, Marshawn Lynch. You look at the numbers, they're not great. 19 rushes, 64 yards. I mean, that's roughly 3 yards a carry.
Yep.
That's pedestrian. Jordy Nelson had a humongous game. If it wasn't for him, they would have been probably 28-0. He had 173 yards receiving on 6 catches. So he's doing what he normally does.
I think you see a defense and a difference in Miami already. They've had some close games thus far, even being down to the Titans and then coming back and beating the Titans. They were down. What were they down at one point against the Raiders? Maybe 10 points or 13 points, and they came back and won that game. So I think what you're seeing is Adam Gase finally has his stamp on the team, and they're playing for him, and everyone's playing well. But I think Miami's going to be a team that's going to be in every game. And what they've shown so far in the past, they always end up losing those games. If Oakland got out to a 13-10 lead or a 13-7 lead, they'd find a way to lose that game at home. But now they're winning those games, and that ultimately is what makes you different from an 8-8 football team or a 9-7 football team to a 10-6 team to a 11-5 team. And we'll see what happens. They're going to come to Foxborough with guns a-blazing, and they're going to do everything in their power to take out close to 20 years of frustration and try to kick the Pats while they're down, because no one in the AFC East has had a chance to, I can't remember as far back as the Pats being 2 games out of first place, and that could be a possibility, or 3 games out of first place, if Miami beats them.
Yeah, Miami beat, yeah. Here's the other thing. Amendola, we miss him. But in this game, he had 3 catches for 42 yards.
Sure.
I mean, it's like, you scored 6 points in a game. I mean, that, it's ho-hum. I mean, you got Albert Wilson, you got Jakeem Grant, so, Kenny Stills had more yards. So, as far as that goes, I mean, 3-0, you can't shake a stick at 3-0. As you know, in the NFL, it's the hardest game to win.
Yep.
In the professional sports every week. Speaking of the hardest game to win, nobody thought on earth. And for those of you who pick Buffalo in the picks, I mean, if you want, you gambled. Let's call it what it is. Not one of you could actually get on camera or have a football conversation and explain football language why you would have picked Buffalo. You can't. You don't say, oh, I picked it and I knew. Congratulations for those of you who did. But if you could actually sit here and explain in football terminology the fact that why you were taking Buffalo, why it was going to happen, and exactly why, then all the power to you, but we all know you couldn't. So for those of you who picked, congrats. 27-6, I remember taking this in the parlay, in the teaser, excuse me. I took Minnesota with the teaser, I was down to -10. And I said, all right, even if they don't blow them out, they'll probably win. I mean, let's call it what it is. And it was first at 7-0 within the first 2 minutes, or whatever the hell it was. And then it was 14-0. And I'm looking at Pat, and we're at work, and I'm saying to myself, what the hell is going on? Can you believe this? And he's like, I was just going to tell you, can you believe this?
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden it's 21-0. And I'm like, you know, what are we doing here?
And it just kept on getting more, and you know, the score would pop up, and you know, they scored again, and then they scored again, and then it's 27-0, and the game's over, and it's just like what the biggest upset in what they said 23 years.
23 years in NFL history.
And that's crazy.
Yeah.
And you know, for a team that was that terrible, you know, to go into a place like Minnesota and play a team that was, you know,
has Super Bowl aspirations.
Yeah, exactly, and just kicked the shit out of them is still unbelievable today. And you know, like Andy was saying, I was telling Andy we were talking about the game, and I said, you turn on Sirius XM, you turn on WEI, you turn on all these things, and you turn on the NFL Network and ESPN and CBS and NBC and Fox, and you know, the talking heads are out there. They're saying probably Buffalo is, you know, and this could be 80-0 and then they come out and they scored, and they score again, and everyone's like looking at each other like, what the hell's going on? And you know, that's why you play the game, and that's why, you know, as much as people think they know what they're talking about, at the end of the day, you know, no one knew anything about that game. And if you had come to me and said Buffalo's going to win 27-6, I would have laughed at you, and so would everybody else. So, but you know, Buffalo got their first win, and you know, I think they're better than Arizona, you know, as for the worst team in the NFL. But you know, they're in Green Bay this week, so we'll see if they can put back-to-back games together.
Colts almost beat the Eagles. EDP was freaking out. Made a video he deleted and then put one up, a different one where he was watching the end of the game, and they were driving. The Eagles were when Wendell Smallwood ran it in, or whatever it was.
Yeah.
But Wentz had, 255, one touchdown. He had an interception, but at the end of the day, he played okay, especially with no receivers, no offense. They put up 20 points. I mean, but here's the thing: it could have been a lot dangerous. Alshon Jeffrey's playing that game. It would have been a blowout. 2016, they almost lost though at home, but they pulled it out. I called it last week. I said it'd be a tough, close game. I thought it was going to be a 3-point game, and ended up being a 4-point game. And I hit the nail on the head. The one game I did not hit the nail on the head on, though, was the Redskins at home annihilating the Packers. And look, this is why you cannot predict football, because we've talked about it a million times. We've talked about how Washington could score 6 points against the Colts and then go up against a team like Green Bay and just annihilate them. And it makes no. It's so frustrating to, especially if you're betting on the game and you have money on it, to be able to say, okay, literally 99 times out of 100, these teams play 99 times, that team will win that should. And I'm not even talking about a freak play. Like, it's one thing if there's an injury. There's one thing if all of a sudden lightning struck down and hit and blew up the field, and so they had to go play in weird conditions that no one was ever used to, like on ice or something ridiculous, and everybody was sliding around, and fumbles were happening, and then it came down to the last team that fumbled wins, or whatever. We're talking about a regular game, and yeah, Aaron Rodgers wasn't his greatest because of his injured knee, or whatever's going on with him. But at the end of the day, you don't expect Green Bay to lose to Washington, especially being blown out 28-10 at the half.
Correct.
So, any thoughts on that?
I think Washington, I took Washington in the points. I knew it was going to be a close game, but I didn't think they were going to, stranglehold Green Bay. That was never really a game when you look at it. I mean, Green Bay cut it at the end there, but at the same time, I think Washington, had them beat the entire game. Washington's been a funny team. They go in there and they annihilate Arizona, then they come back and they lose at home to the Colts. Maybe the Colts are a better football team than I'm giving them credit for. And then Green Bay, which is a solid team with one of the best quarterbacks out there. The defense steps up, and that's why this thing we call the NFL is just everyone's jockeying for positions right now just to see. Win these games that you can, whether they're ugly or clean, and try to get as many wins and win your division games. But we can't tell who's going to the Super Bowl. We don't know who's going to win the MVP. We don't know who's going to be the coach of the year, because we can go back and look at week 3 or week 4, and everything that we're talking about could be complete ass backwards by the time week 15 turns around. So you just got to take advantage of the opportunities that you have and win the games that you can, and live to play another one.
Well, living to play another one, you got Carolina, who was down early in this game. I thought Cincinnati would win, and I think I picked them right. And Carolina, 31-21. Bengals looked unstoppable, just like the Buccaneers, just like the Chiefs and the Rams.
Mm-hmm.
And look, they didn't play terribly. Their defense did, though.
Yeah.
Carolina, here's another example. They score 5 points or whatever. I'm being facetious, obviously, people. But they score almost no points the week before. Here we go, 31 points, like it's old hat. Christian McCaffrey. Listen to these lines: 28 rushes, 184 yards. And that's unbelievable. He almost had a 200-yard game on the ground.
Mm-hmm.
Dalton played well, 2 touchdowns, 352 yards. Didn't play terribly, but at the end of the day, defense wins championships. And the old adage, good defense beats good hitting, or good pitching beats good hitting, or whatever. And Carolina ended up in a slugfest, winning out 31-21.
And I think Cincinnati is going to be a dark horse, for that AFC North.
Like a Katy Perry dark horse?
Yeah, coming at you like a dark horse. Pittsburgh, who knows? Baltimore, who knows? Cleveland, Cleveland
could be 3-0.
They could be. And Cincinnati, 2-1.
2-1, yeah.
At the end of the day, it's going to be a dogfight, just like it always is in that division. But I wouldn't count out Cincinnati from possibly, just with their offense, creating some distance, because I don't even know what type of team Pittsburgh is. I don't think anybody does. And if they do, they're lying to you. So who knows what team's going to show up in Pittsburgh and Baltimore. You don't know. They played well. They, ended up beating Denver pretty handily going away. They made some big defensive stops at the end of that game to win. But, maybe Baltimore comes back on top. But what you're seeing is parity. I think you're seeing 2 or 3 or 4 teams at the top of the league, and then a bunch of teams, 14 to 16 teams who are just going to, grit it out and fight for those, lower division spots and wild card spots.
This is the theme of this week. This is really the theme of the season. Jacksonville at home annihilates the Pats. Okay, and I'm watching this game, and that's when I went on my rant last week. And again, we'll get to the Patriots at the Sunday night game, but they're home against Tennessee. Now, here's the thing. We can talk about letdowns, and we can talk about it was like Jacksonville's Super Bowl and whatever. But Tennessee, the 2018 Tennessee Titans, are not the fucking Ravens with Ray Lewis.
No.
They're not the 86 Bears.
No.
Okay? They go into Jacksonville. Gabbert gets hurt.
Yep.
Mariota comes back in, who's also hurt, but he has to come back in because the other guy's worse than he is.
Yep.
And they win 9-6.
Yep.
I don't know how it's. I don't get it. At the end of the day, Jacksonville, they lost a guy again, who played with who played against the Pats. They lost him for the season. But it's the Tennessee Titans. You're the Jacksonville Jaguars. You got Blake Bortles playing like he's Joe Montana. You got no-name people running around, catching balls like the Jerry Rice for big yardage, And then the Tennessee comes in.
Yep.
So, is Tennessee this good? No, I don't think they are.
Well, I was going to say that I think that you're still not giving Tennessee the credit from all last year, making the playoffs.
Sure.
You didn't think they were a good team, beating a good team in the playoffs, Kansas City. You still didn't think they were a good team and deserved to be there.
No.
And now they're 2-1 now.
They're 2-1,
and they won at Jacksonville, which is
I'm with you. Look, I got to give them credit.
Yeah.
Blind squirrel finds a nut every once in a while. That old adage.
But
let's see what they do. If Tennessee,
sure,
if Tennessee goes 10-6, okay, fine. But if they end up finishing fucking 5-11,
sure.
Then look, again. But the point I'm trying to make is, you never know. This is a theme. This season, especially this season versus some of the others in the past, you never freaking know, man.
No, you don't.
You don't know. Nobody knows. Tennessee's going to win. You're a liar if you pick them. and you can't tell us why, and don't say you knew it was going to be a defensive battle because you couldn't, in football terminology, explain to us, or anyone for that matter, your thought process. You could say, oh, well, you can recite plays that already happened and say that's what you were thinking,
Sure.
but no, you can't. You mentioned it earlier. Denver, I had them winning, I think. I forget the hell I picked.
We both picked Denver.
We both picked Denver, yeah. And Baltimore, pretty handily. Denver had a 14-10 lead after one.
Yep.
And Baltimore came but Denver didn't score again. So Baltimore's defense showed up. Giants, the one week I picked them, they don't fucking they fucking win. Okay, and I picked Houston. I didn't think they'd be 0-3. I thought they'd be able to, defensive slugfest because both offenses are atrocious. And I thought and here's the thing: let's not go haywire on the Giants here. I picked them to win the division, so I'm obviously a pick wrong because they're terrible.
They're terrible, and so is Houston.
And so is Houston. I didn't think Houston was going to be this bad because they have everyone healthy. They're worse.
Well, what's his name's played well?
Who? J.J. Watt?
No.
Or Javarian Clowney?
No.
Or the receiver?
No. Quarterback, Watson.
He played well in that game.
Look at his stats for the year.
Okay, but let's take out this game out of there because he threw for 385 and had 2 touchdowns.
Correct.
Okay, but let's take that.
But why would you take it out?
Because I'm talking about the first 2 games. Because he has a great third game doesn't mean he's been playing well all year.
Okay.
He played well in that third game. He has 5 touchdowns and 3 interceptions on the year.
Okay.
Okay. So if you take out, it's not time for some straight talk because I'm going to get hit with a what do you call it? But if you what do you call it? A flag. But here's the deal: you take the 3. What did he have? 3 touchdowns? I told you in that game. No, he had 2 and 1 against the Giants.
Yeah.
So take out 2 touchdowns and 1 interception.
Yeah.
He had 3 touchdowns, 2 interceptions.
Yeah.
And for 5 something in 2 games.
Okay.
So 250 roughly on average in 2 games. That's okay. Not Deshaun Watson like we saw last year.
Yeah.
His rating's 89.8, but that's after the Giants game. Before the Giants game, he was at a 70.
Okay.
Which is horrible. Now his career is 98.5.
Sure.
So he's well behind that.
Well, now he's at 89.
But before then, I'm saying he was well behind that.
I'm just saying for the whole season.
For the whole season, so far, if you had, I'll give you an example, and this is my point I'm trying to make. So let's say, here's a perfect example. You ready for this? Let's go to the Jets.
Yeah.
Okay, the Jets in 3 games. How would you say they've played?
Below average.
Okay, well,
At best.
the statistics don't say that.
Okay.
If you want to talk about the Jets are one of the most prolific offenses this season.
Okay.
Okay, now why would I say that? Because here's why. All right, here's why I would say that. Through 3 games, the Jets have scored, I think, in the top 3 points in the league in the AFC at least. They've scored 77 points. Mm-hmm. They've only given up 58 points, but they're 1-2. But that's because the first week of the season they annihilated Detroit. If you take that game out of there, they're terrible. So hence, you take that week 3 pretty good showing by Deshaun Watson, they're terrible. He's terrible. Now, do I think he's terrible? No, I think he hasn't really come back from his injury. I think that's the problem. I think it's after.
Sam Bradford is terrible. Deshaun Watson is not terrible.
That's like saying a man who has no arms, no legs, can't see, can't hear, can't speak, is horrible at picking up chicks next to a normal person.
I don't even know what that means.
Well, because here's the thing. Sam Bradford is terrible, Deshaun Watson's not. Well, when you're comparing Deshaun Watson to Sam Bradford, of course not. Of course not.
I'm just saying, if you said Deshaun Watson's terrible...
No. I didn't say he was terrible. If I did, I misspoke. He hasn't played well this season.
Okay, you said terrible.
Well, then I definitely misspoke. I definitely misspoke. Yeah. I definitely misspoke.
Okay.
All right. Let's go to the Rams-Chargers game. This game was actually a lot closer
at the end.
And
they had a chance.
They did.
And they fumbled.
It was 21-20.
Yeah.
It was a 21-13 at one point, and then ended up losing by 12.
And with like 3 or 2.5, 3 minutes, they were on like the 7.
Is Jared Goff this good, or is his team around him that good?
I told you from day one, Jared Goff, they're going to have a big season. Now,
No, but that's not my question. Is Jared Goff that good of a quarterback, or is it because he has weapons around him that makes it easier for him to play the position to the point where let me do it this way. If Jared Goff didn't have Gurley, if he had a random running back in there, not horrible, but not great.
Yeah.
If he had, not a great defense.
I know what you're saying.
Is he that good? Is he this good? Is this what he normally would do?
Let me ask you a question.
Yeah.
Would Peyton Manning be as good as he was without Reggie Wayne and all of his players that he had forever? Marshall Falk, and Edgerrin James and all those.
So I think he'd be. Yeah, I think he'd be.
Would he be elite without those players?
Yeah. Because if you watch Peyton Manning play, yes.
So he would still be elite even though he didn't have Hall of Famers playing around him.
I believe so, because look at Tom Brady. Tom Brady didn't have Hall of Famers playing around, with the exception of Randy Moss that one season. Offensively, I'm talking. Curtis Martin, he wasn't even there. Bledsoe was there. So Brady only had Randy Moss.
That's it. One.
Correct.
So
my point is Peyton Manning a better overall quarterback than Tom Brady? I think so.
What?
Peyton Manning, I'm talking about talent. I'm talking about just on tape. I'm talking about like if you're at an NFL combine as far as arm strength, as far as all that stuff. I'm not talking about if it came down to it, who do you want in a clutch situation? Obviously, it's Tom Brady. But I'm talking about if you took Tom Brady and Peyton Manning in their primes.
Yep.
Okay? And you could even say Tom Brady's still in his prime. But if you took Tom Brady in the height of the battle, Colts and Patriots,
yep,
and you put them side by side, and all they had to do were just drills. Throw the ball as far as you can.
That doesn't mean
accuracy. It does in the sense of if I'm Peyton Manning, I can throw a ball. It could be Happy Gilmore. You can hit a ball 7 million feet in the air, but are you going to be able to hit a putt? No. So in this case, you could throw a football 1,000 feet in the air, 1,000 yards in the air. But can you be accurate with it? If the answer is no, then you're not going to be an elite quarterback. Doesn't matter who you have playing with you, because you could be Jerry Rice. If you throw the ball 70 feet over his head, it's not going to matter.
What I'm saying is, Tom Brady is a couple notches above Peyton Manning. Okay, Peyton Manning has always been surrounded by talent. Always. Brady had 1 year surrounded by a receiver that was a Hall of Famer, and he threw for like 52 touchdowns. If Tom Brady had all the weapons that Peyton Manning had every year Peyton Manning had weapons. Brady not, okay? Brady made weapons. Brady is a better quarterback. He's done more with less. And Peyton Manning,
I agree with that 100%.
Less with more.
Sure, I agree with that.
So,
but I think your question is, would he still be an elite quarterback? I think he would be. Guys, comment in the comment section below.
I don't think Peyton Manning would have been an elite quarterback if he wasn't surrounded by.
So we disagree on that. So basically, you don't think he would be. Then who do you think is an elite playing right now? Who's an elite quarterback besides Brady? Who would you say is an elite? Is Drew Brees an elite quarterback?
Yes.
How come?
He's a Hall of Famer.
But how come?
Because
you look at all the talent he had around him.
Well, there were some years where his best receiver was Marcus Colson. Drew Brees has been consistent, and I don't know how many Hall of Famers Drew Brees has thrown to. I don't know.
Well, you'd figure how many has Peyton had? Just Wayne, right?
Martin Harrison.
Okay, 2.
Reggie Wayne.
Yeah, I just said Wayne.
But those are the two guys.
But so you 2. So
how many years?
Well, how many? Let's see who. I mean, we'd have to look through all the roster
for at
Drew
least
Brees
8 to 10 years. He had Marvin Harrison.
Sure.
He had 2 Hall of Fame receivers that he was throwing to every single year for the prime of his career.
Yeah.
I don't know if you can name one Hall of Famer that Drew Brees has played with.
I don't really follow. I didn't really follow New Orleans or
not only that, but
San Diego.
Drew Brees had. I mean, not only that, but Peyton Manning had Edgerrin James at the beginning of his career. He had Marshall Falk. He had all of these players, and they could never win. All I'm saying is, to answer your question, is Jared Goff that good? Was your original question. I think Jared Goff is good. I think, like I said before, this team, the Rams are loaded. They have unbelievable talent in the backfield. They have unbelievable talent in wide receiver. They have guys that are big that can go get it. They have, Woods, and then they have our old friend Cooks. They got all kinds of talent, and they're going to score points on everybody. So Jared Goff is a good quarterback. He's not great, but he's good.
Yeah, so that's my question. So basically, that's my question. Now, comment in the comment section below. Me and Mcloveин's argument here over would Peyton Manning still be considered an elite quarterback if
he didn't play
with those Hall of Famers? Would you still consider him an elite quarterback? Now, let's talk about two people who will not be elite quarterbacks anytime soon. Mitchell Trubisky of the Bears and Sam Bradford, who I think got benched or got thrown out of the game with an injury for the Cardinals. So Bears win 16-14, and Arizona was winning the whole game.
The whole game
they were winning. They were up 14-0 after one, and that's all she wrote. Josh Rosen came in. Hold on 1 second here. Josh Rosen came in. I don't know where my music is. This is ridiculous. This is unbelievable. I don't know where my volume is on the stupid keyboard, but Rosen comes in and throws, was 4 of 7 for 36 yards with an interception. Bradford actually had an okay, he had okay compared to the beginning of the season. He threw for 2 touchdowns, also threw 2 interceptions, and only 157 yards passing with a rating of 89. Same, by the way, as Deshaun Watson, your boy. So as ridiculous as that stat line sounds, they had the same rating, both Watson and Bradford.
You mean for the season?
Yeah, for that game.
For that game, okay. Yeah.
Rosen, let's see what he is for the season.
Wait, what was Bradford. Watson's last?
Bradford, hold on. Nothing. These ads aren't muting. All right, Bradford for the season, 62.5.
Yeah. Well, so last game he was 89.
89.
What was Watson's last game?
I have to go double check.
Yeah.
But anyway, look at these receivers for. Look at these receivers.
For who? The Cardinals? They have very good receivers.
Oh, they do.
They have Larry Fitzgerald. They have this kid.
Larry Fitzgerald didn't even. I don't know. Yeah, he did play two receptions for.
Okay, he's a Hall of Famer.
2 receptions for. No, I know he is, but 2 receptions for 9 yards.
They got this kid Kirk.
Yeah,
he's a player.
Yeah.
They have better receivers.
I've never heard of these guys.
Yeah, but the thing is they have talent in the backfield and they have talent at receiving.
David Johnson is 100 years old in football years.
Well, he's still better than the majority, 75% of them.
He's probably better than what the Pats have.
There's no question.
Yeah.
But the Arizona Cardinals have talent at the skill positions. They just don't have it at quarterback.
Cowboys lose to Seahawks. I was the only one this week that picked them. I didn't think Seattle would lose. It's 10 home openers in a row they've won. And I knew that Dallas's offense is atrocious. And Ezekiel Elliott had a great game stats-wise, but fumbled in a key 4th down situation. And when Dallas was trying to get back in the game. And Dak Prescott is garbage. I've said it forever. And here we go again. Now he has a healthy Ezekiel Elliott. They can't do anything. Do they really miss Des Bryant? I'm sure, just on paper, because you have to keep him honest with the deep ball. But let's get to the game that I went on a tangent. I said to everyone who would listen, Mclovein challenged me last week and said the Patriots have the better defense than they do last year.
This was 2 weeks ago.
2 weeks ago, excuse me. 2 weeks. Yep. 2 weeks ago. They have a better defense than they did last year. And I said, explain. He went over the fact that they can rush the quarterback and blah, blah, blah. Well, as we've seen, Houston, that was after the Houston game. Mm-hmm. As we've seen, Houston's terrible. Mm-hmm. And as we've seen, what they were able to do against a terrible defense, look, at the end of the day, you could be like that dude we saw in that video where he's putting on his Nike, some $5 Nike shoes from, some Salvation Army store, and it's a parody, obviously, and he's dunking on a 5-year-old. Yeah. I mean, at the end of the day, you're going to beat them, but when you start playing real competition, then look what happens. And me and Mclovein are watching the Lions game, and the Pats got the ball 3 and out within 30 seconds. And I said, oh boy. And here comes Stafford and the, average Detroit offense with some guys who you may not have heard of, but you heard of them that night because look, they had Pat's boy Blunt, who didn't play that well. He did okay. He did okay. He didn't play like high volume stats.
What was his carry average?
We'll see. I'll look at the box score right here.
Better than
Kerryon Johnson though, 101 yards rushing, first line's running back to actually.
What was his yards per clip?
Well, he's good. I'm not saying he's horrible. I'm saying Blunt's bad. Blunt 3 yards. I took 16 carries, 48 yards.
Okay.
He's my and I've told this to Pat a million times. We're never going to agree on LeGarrette Blount. No, but the viewers don't know this. I tell Pat all the time that LeGarrette Blount is notorious for grabbing the ball, running as slow as he can, and then falling down for a half a yard. And if you're watching this, you're either going to agree or disagree with that.
He agrees with me because
really,
yeah, LeGarrette Blount was a big part of the two Super Bowls that they won.
I agree. In the red zone, sure.
But
he's like a Jerome Bettis.
But if you go back game by game and you look at game by game, he had some long runs to close out games. Overall, anytime you score 16 touchdowns in one season,
that was like 100 years ago.
No, it was when the year they beat the Falcons. It's not 100 years ago.
What are you talking about? He had 60. Yeah, because we had this right. We had this conversation. They were giving him the ball at the 3-yard line.
But he scored 16 touchdowns.
That's like okay, but that's like me putting up a hoop, right? That's like me putting up a hoop on that door, standing right there, just putting the ball in the hoop. I scored 100 points.
But no.
You're at the 3-yard line, bro.
But they still have to get the ball in. And he's a big guy.
Big guy, sure.
And he controls and you just don't like him.
No, I don't like that. If you're in the middle of the field, I'm not talking about the goal line situations. Jerome Bettis, towards the end of his career, that's all he was able to do. Because he was washed up. But he was big enough and strong enough to be able to muscle his way into the end zone. When they had what's-his-face 1,000 years ago, Pittsburgh. That running back, I don't know where the hell he is now. But they used to have Bettis only in goal line situations. That's what Blount to me is. He's a goal line guy. At this point in his career, he's a goal line guy. I'm at the 6-yard line. Look, and we're going to agree to disagree.
We're never going to agree on this.
I know.
I'll take LeGarrette Blount on my team any day of the week.
Sure. For you're talking about the featured running back, the only running back?
No.
What are you talking about then?
I'm talking about, there's no such thing as a featured running back that they have one. Every backfield is split into two. But what I'm saying is he does more than just get the ball, tickle dance, and then fall down. And
more often than not, he does that.
But the thing is that you're not taking into account is that no one is blocking for him. It's not that he wants to just go down. It's that there's somebody there. Just like you were getting mad at Sony Michel
I'm calling it right now. I think James White is better than Sony Michel.
Right now he is, but not in the long run.
Sony Michel is horrible. He's going to be a bust. You heard it here first. I'm not Max Kellerman.
Rookie season.
I understand
coming off an injury.
I understand that. I'm not Max Kellerman. I'm not just saying shit to say shit. This isn't me. You know me. But my prediction, and I could be wrong, like anybody who has a prediction could be wrong, but my prediction is Sony Michel turns into another, was it Robert Edwards? Was that his name?
Robert Edwards.
Yeah.
Robert Edwards was a Pro Bowler.
Who's the running back that injured himself? He was playing beach volleyball.
Yeah, Robert Edwards.
He was a Pro Bowler?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
No,
that's why he was over there. It was in Hawaii. He was playing on a beach.
Oh. No, then I'm thinking of somebody else then. Because his career ended because of the injury, not because he was horrible. I'm thinking of, there's some guy, I forget who it is. The guy
that they drafted from University of Minnesota back in like 2005 or 4 or 5, 6.
What was his name? It was somebody. He was just a complete awful, just bust. I mean, it was horrible.
Yeah, that's who you're talking about.
Yeah, whoever that guy was. But the deal is so bad that you don't even know his name because it's so bad. Sony Michel. All right, here's the deal. And I said this to Pat watching the game. And and I was getting excited and I was getting over, freaking out and left and right and depressed and bipolar and manic depressive during the game and everything else. And, I'd start flipping out on the fact that the offense is that terrible. And then I'd realize Julian Edelman's coming back week 5 and it's not going to be as bad as it is. The Patriots may score 25 to 35 points a game when Edelman comes back, and even if Gordon's a bust, they still may score 25 to 35 points a game. This defense is horrific. If you watch this Lions game, okay, and I pointed this to Pat out a million times, what the days of Belichick, like Dan Duquette used to do for the Red Sox, pick up players off the scrap heap a la Jose Offerman and everything else, are gone. The rest of the league has caught up and drafted well or better than the Pats have lately. And what you see is Belichick, and look, at the end of the day, and I told this to Pat, it could, and look, I way out, because Pat believes in his heart of hearts that Belichick only cares about winning. But I think Belichick at some point is the type of guy that holds a grudge no matter what. And for him to let Amendola go for peanuts, by the way, $8.25 million over 2.5 or whatever the fuck it was, 3 years, 2 years, peanuts. They had this cap space for more than enough cap space. They had more than enough cap space for fucking Cooks. And you have Chris Hogan, who just wants to be part of the gang, so he'll just sign a 2-year contract.
He's playing out of position, but yeah, go.
No. I'm not yelling at Chris Hogan for his performance. I know he's playing out of position. Yeah. I'm talking about he'll just sign a contract just to be part of the gang, is what I'm saying. They could offer him a 2-year deal for $50 and he'd sign it. Okay, the bottom line is you got him, and you got poor Gronkowski's getting mauled. He looks slow and bulky and everything else because he's just worn down. And he has nobody to throw to. Brady has nobody to throw to. Sony Michel dropped 50 fucking passes to the point where Brady was so angry, he just glared. He didn't even say anything to him. He glared at him. If looks could kill, he'd be incinerated. That's how pissed Brady is. And then Michelle has the audacity to say, when somebody asks him, part of the media, how's your first 3 games in your NFL career? Well, it isn't fun when we're not winning. Like, he's fucking not the problem. You fucking asshole. You drop fucking 3 easy screen passes, and you're walking around, look at me. No. James White, where is he? It's not his fault. For some reason, I don't know, they're predisposed to not wanting to throw James White into a fucking game plan. Makes no sense. Maybe they're just praying to God they don't want to get James White injured, so they're hoping they can win with all the other scrubs. Because then if they start putting James White as a featured player, then if he gets injured, it's really bad. But if you watch the Patriots defense, getting back to my original point, they have people such as, okay, here we go, Danny Shelton, who they picked up from the Cleveland Browns free agent, okay. Danny Shelton, and I'm no svelte person, but Danny Shelton, his flab is falling out of his jersey to the point where it's just all over the place. And not only is it all over the place, he's running around like he's making 70 tackles a game. He's nowhere even near the play. He's diving for people. The play's all the way down the 30-yard line. He's diving. What are you diving for? So people can get confused watching the tape and thinking you're running around and doing shit? There's something wrong with Dante Hightower. He's not as fast as he used to be. Either he aged terribly quick or he's still injured and he's got something wrong with him, but he's toughing it out. Bentley's on IR, the guy who actually intercepted the ball me and Pat never heard of. He's on IR. Jason McCourty, they got his brother, Jason McCourty, who's who they picked up, right? Yeah, Devin was already with the team. Jason has seen his best days past him.
Look,
it's so bad that Eric Rowe is the savior of the Pats defense, and that's what at least. And I don't know how many times I fucking screamed at Collinsworth for being I just wanted to. I don't mind Collinsworth at all, but he was just stabbing. What is he, Phil Simms? He's stating things that are just so asinine. Man, the Patriots really miss Eric Rowe. He's a shutdown corner. Shutdown corner. When on earth has Eric Rowe ever been a shutdown corner? Did you see the Super Bowl?
He played well in the Super Bowl.
He passes over his head. There's articles written about Rowe.
There's one. He had one pass that he got beat on, and after that he played real well in the Super Bowl. You can look up the articles.
Jonathan Jones, horrible.
Yeah, he's tough.
Dietrich Wise Jr. Look, for a guy who he played well, but the second. No, I'm not. Calm down. Calm down. You jumped my gun. You jumped the gun without hearing what I was saying.
Well, I had heard that.
Dietrich Wise Jr. is the guy who is trying to pump the defense up. That's sad. That's my point. When you have a guy who you've never heard of, kind of, or is a rookie, what is he, second year in the league?
I don't know.
Dietrich Wise Jr. is the guy trying to pump. You know who should be pumping the defense up? Stephon Gilmore. You know who should be pumping the defense up? Hightower. Devin McCourty. Even Lawrence Guy. Even Kyle Van Noy. But I don't know if it's, we talked about this, Flores, they're playing zone. Every quarterback's annihilating them. They're running the ball to the outside. The Patriots have nobody fast enough to do anything about it. And it's dink and dunk, an 8-yard gain there, and a 13-yard gain here, and finally we're 3rd and 11, 27-yard gain over here, and nobody's near the ball. Miscommunications with Gilmore and McCourty in the thing. This team, even if the Pats could score 25 points, they're going to lose. Because all teams have to do now, instead of going for the quick strike, which, I mean, if the guy's wide open, you're going to do it. You're not fooling around. But why even risk it now? Because now you hold the ball for eternity. You game manage the clock. You waste as much time as you can, providing you can get in the end zone. Then you have the ability to do that because the Pats can't. And that's what it's going to end up being. It's going to be a lot of close games. I don't care if Josh Gordon is Randy Moss. At the end of the day, it doesn't matter because this defense against high elite teams like the Rams, like Kansas City, not yet Tampa Bay, but Kansas City, the Rams, who else is fucking good that we talked about? I forget.
Tampa Bay would give them fits right now.
Well, sure, right now.
New Orleans would give them
New Orleans, yeah. Throw that Green Bay.
Atlanta would
Miami, this game's going to be rough. I think Miami, we're going to get to the picks later. But at the end of the day, this Patriots defense it is one of the worst I've ever seen. And I'll end on this. Apparently, Mad Dog had, what's his face on? Peter King. And Mad Dog was telling Peter King that somebody overheard Belichick at training camp say to whoever this person was, and this person then told Mad Dog what Belichick told him. Belichick was reading off the people, or naming off the people that they lost in the offseason. Amendola, we lost him, we lost Solder, we lost this guy, we lost that guy. It is going to be a rough year. That is what supposedly Belichick told person X, who then told Mad Dog. It is going to be a rough year. So in Belichick's head, he knew this was coming. For what, though? It's not like there's a draft class next year that, or you want to lock up these players for $1 zillion, even though they have to play out their rookie contracts and you can franchise tag the hell out of them for 1,000 years. I just don't get it. I don't get it. At the end of the day, one of two things is going on. Either Belichick has Alzheimer's, or three things. He's either that, or he literally just is that much of a Scrooge McDuck when it comes to the cap, and it doesn't matter what the situation is, nobody's above the cap, and I've done it for the last X amount of years, and it's worked, so you got to adapt.
He has adapted, but you made some good points, and I've heard that 3 times now, and
well, not yet, because they haven't heard it. Sure,
I understand that. I let you talk. I didn't say anything. I said Dietrich Wise played well, and he said I needed to calm down and relax. I was going to get there. I think he makes great points on the defense. Okay, they're getting pushed off the ball by a Detroit Lion team. Their tackles are just nowhere near the ball. They're getting off the ball slow. The linebackers are nowhere to be found. They're opening up these unbelievable holes. And, Detroit had a running back for the first time over 100 yards in, a million years. They have Dante Hightower is a step, maybe 2 steps slow. They're not using him on the blitz like they used to, where he used to cause havoc in the backfield. Their secondary is slow, lethargic. The whole team just looks lethargic. It looks like there was never any spunk ever throughout the game. They were flat. They never got into a groove. They got behind the 8 ball. They made a little, 4-minute span where they made it interesting. But after that, You know, it was a long night. They played like garbage, and unfortunately, they're 1-2 right now. And the good news is they still have 13 games left. The good news is they still have Tom Brady. The good news is Edelman's coming off of suspension after this next game. But at the same time, someone needs to fire. And maybe they're right. Maybe that Tom Brady has stopped listening to Belichick. Maybe this whole team is stopped listening to Belichick. And it happens a lot with head coaches, It happens with Landry. It happened with Lombardi. It happens with all of these guys at some point in time. And as New England fans, we need to step back and look at what has happened over the last 20 years and say that for this team to be where they've been in the last 19 years, to have a quarterback and a coach do what they've done, is something that if you had seen the previous 15 years, you would have never, ever even dreamed how good it's been. Not even a dream. So this could be the year. Okay, this could be it. This could be the end of everything, and it's no matter how it ends, it's not going to end well. Okay, it's just like everything else in life. Whenever you're doing something so fun and so good that it feels so good, at some point in time, you're going to come down. You're going to, everything comes to an end, and when this comes to an end, it's going to be nasty. There's going to be things said. There's going to be emotion. There's going to be. And already in week 3, we're starting to see a glimpse of this nastiness. We're seeing Gronk telling his brother, and then the media, somehow always coming out with a different thing every week. Everyone hates Belichick. They wanted a divorce. We're going to write this book in week 3 so we can kind of, jam a stake in between Brady and the rest of the team, and no one listens to Belichick, and Gronk's unhappy, and he was going to get traded, and he said, I don't want to get traded, and all this stuff. There was 6 to 8 months that all this stuff could have come out. So I think they strategically have been having this information that they're slowly bringing down, because people that hate the Patriots will do anything in their power to take them down, starting with the NFL, starting with the opposing teams, starting with all the other owners, the media. If you don't love the Patriots and you don't like the Patriots, there's no in between. There's no, I think you hate them, okay? Everyone hates the Patriots. The media hates them. Everybody hates them. And I think slowly and surely, people are looking at this thing that we call a mess for 3 weeks, that we sit back here and we say is a mess. The people who aren't New England fans are loving this every second of it, because it's slowly starting to crumble. Now, all that being said, they started off slow like this before. But even when they started off slow, you could still see Brady. You could still see some sort of fire at some point in time where they could shake it off and go out and play. Shake it off, we'll be fine, we'll go out and win 12 games. Shake it off, we'll go out and win 11 games. Shake it off, we had a bad week. You just get this feeling that it's just there's no spunk, there's no youth, there's nothing when you look at this team that makes you excited about, okay, we lost to the Lions. And we'll see. This could be a team that rebounds and comes out and still wins the division at 10-6. And are they a Super Bowl team? They're far from a Super Bowl team right now. They're not even close. They're not even a playoff team. And if they were to make the playoffs, they'd be out early. Okay, so or it could be the beginning of the end. And just like all the dynasties in the entire world, when they come to an end, it's going to be bad. And if this is anything of a preview of what's to come, it could be a long year, and it could be the first time that they don't make the playoffs with Belichick and Brady together, barring the 2000.
Sure.
We'll see what happens. Belichick looks, he comes in. One of the first things he said, we got outplayed and we got outcoached. Very rarely will you hear Belichick say that. I don't know if he was saying that to be nice to Patricia, but at the same time, they look pathetic. They look bad. There was not one part of that game on Sunday night where you could take something out of it and say, okay, they were terrible. They couldn't get off the field. They couldn't make a tackle. I don't know how many missed tackles.
Oh, God, yeah. I was telling Mclovein that.
Third downs, they can't get off the field. It's 2nd and 3. It's 2nd and short. They're running it up. It's 3rd and 1. You know, in that game, if Detroit was any good, that game could have been 45-0. If Detroit, who is a terrible team, which is even worse, if they were any good, they could have just destroyed. They could have. If the New England Patriots came out and played like that against the Rams right now, the Rams would annihilate them. Annihilate. If they did that against Kansas City, they'd annihilate them. And I truly, in my heart of hearts, I think they've stopped listening to Belichick. And I think when you stop listening to the head coach, it's going to come a point in time, and you know.
So this all may be true. They may have stopped listening to him, but at the end of the day, the roster is terrible.
Yeah.
So let's assume for a moment that they
but he's won with worse. He's competed with worse.
I think he's competed. You mean Brady or Belichick?
I'm just saying both of them.
Their defense has never been this bad.
Well,
this is bad.
I understand that, but at least if they had a bad defense, what I'm saying is they would compete. They'd be out there busting their tail. They might not have the most talent out there, but these guys are lackadaisical.
Yeah.
I don't know if they're tired or what's going on, but something's not right.
So 2 hours ago, Mike Rice, the ESPN staff writer, Patriots limited in practice, and normally you'd be like, oh, this is why they're 1-2. But listen to these names: Marcus Cannon, pretty good guy, pretty good tackle. All right, he's out with a calf. Chung, who I like, concussion. Then you got a quarterback, Keon Cross, and hamstring. Nate Ebner, hip. He plays on special teams, the punter, the rugby guy. Trey Flowers, good player, concussion. Gordon, we don't even know what the hell he is. Gino Grissom, ankle, horrible. Rob Gronkowski, ankle, obviously not horrible. Jacob Hollister, chest, some random white tight end. Eric Rowe, horrific. Danny Shelton, horrific. His elbow. You know why his elbow hurts? Because he was diving 50 yards from where the play was. That's why his elbow hurts. His elbow hurts because he had to keep doing this as he fed himself fucking cupcakes. That's why his elbow was hurting. And then we had the Monday night game where Tampa Bay came back, almost beat them, but
you ran out of time.
Too little, too late. Brian Fitzpatrick set an NFL record, the first quarterback in the history of the NFL to start a season with 304-yard plus games. First, it's unbelievable. You'd figure of the years Favre or anybody would have done it. Sure, with the Rams, with the greatest show on turf. There you go. All right, so that's week 3. Now let's go into the comments. We have some questions. We have some comments.
Boy.
All right, let's go into that. Let's do this. Let's see what we got here over here. Look at me over here. Look at me over here. Glasses says, look at me over here. So, let's go right on into this. Comments. Let's see. All right, so let's go to, here we go. Dan McLean commented, we said, who the hell is Matt Breida? Breida, whatever you pronounce it. Well, Matt Breida played college football for Georgia, Georgia Southern. And when undrafted in the 2017 draft, he actually played pretty decently last year, especially seeing that he went undrafted. Yep. He compiled 465 rushing yards, 4.4 yards per carry, and 2 touchdowns to go along with 180 receiving yards at a touchdown. That's not bad, at all. What makes it super impressive is knowing how bad San Francisco was last year, especially before Garoppolo arrived. I had a feeling that he would eventually take over the backfield in San Francisco, too, because Alfred Morris is mediocre at best. Pick him up in any fantasy league where he's available before it's too late, especially with Beathard coming in. Yee Nation, how do you guys feel about my boy Albert Wilson? Everybody laughed when Miami picked him up, but he looks like he's getting the last laugh now. What do you all think? Hashtag Fins up, yo.
Go Fins.
What do you think of Albert Wilson, though? He threw that touchdown. Flea flicker, whatever the hell it was.
It was a pretty good play, huh?
Yeah.
Look, he's got talent, and Adam Gase is using him to his fullest potential right now. So, if it's not the Patriots, I'm rooting for the Fins.
All right, now DJ Wallace there, Cali guy, has a link that he wants you to go and watch his cousin play, and next week you can do some scouting reports on him, and you can tell what you think of him. I'll send you the link. Giangelo, hell nah, EDP445 picked the Browns twice, but ain't realized it was the Browns. They almost proved he was a genius. Lots of laughs. Let's see. What else do we have here? Joe Giles has a question. Hand Andy Howard the new NHL game. I cannot wait to get it. I haven't played it yet, Joe Giles, only because I play when the season starts, and I haven't. All right, now, yes, anything that is cool, awesome. This is what he wants us to do.
Yeah.
Andy, you read that? Andy, every week after you read out loud the winner of the picture spread between you two, the winner should celebrate by doing a unique touchdown dance.
No.
Come on, baby. There's nothing wrong with a little banter.
That's never gonna happen.
You got banter from us today, and this is real. This ain't scripted. This is how we really feel.
We're not
sure.
Dan, this isn't this isn't romper room in here. This is a football show, and this is for men and sophisticated men. We're not dancing.
Who drink Michelob Ultra while watching the game, throwing loafers at the television set.
Go Friars.
Go Friars.
Friars have a great recruiting. If anyone cares about Friars basketball, we got a. They're overseas. They're playing some good basketball. They got a nice schedule ahead of them, and look for the Friars to really finish probably in the top 3 or 4 in the Big East, and then make a run at the NCAA tournament. Coach Ed Cooley. They got 2 really good freshmen this year, and should be fun to watch.
What'll be fun to watch? Thursday's game.
Yes.
Vikings Raiders.
Finally, in the first time in 10 years, the Thursday night game is maybe the best game of the week.
So, before we get into that, last week against the spread, I went 9-7. You went 8-8.
Yep.
I have a 2-game lead on you right now for the season, so let's go right on into the spread. Before we go into the spread, though, it's time for standings time. And for those of you who don't know, VADX99 is the unofficial referee. VADX99 the gatekeeper, every Thursday when kickoff, then comment. Kickoff has begun, and anybody who puts in their picks after kickoff, obviously you're disqualified. So now, having said all that, the standings, I'm doing my best to make sure they're as accurate as possible. It's on you, though. And what I mean by that is I could obviously screw up. There's human error. So if you have an issue, listen carefully. If you have an issue with the record that I have you at, please email me at andyvhb@aol.com and tell me what your record should be, and then I will go back to each video and make sure that it is what it is.
And don't do it just to do it. Please, I saw him try to attempt to start from week 1 yesterday, and we were sitting there, and he was like, this is an absolute nightmare. So don't do it to bust balls. Please only do it if you really, truly believe there's a mistake.
Yeah. Thursday's game, Vikings 1-1-1, tied on the road. Going into the LA to face the Rams, 3-0, 2-0 at home. Rams favored by 7.
Minnesota +7.
Keep Talib, by the way, is out for 8 weeks at least. For the Rams there. Broken ankle or something like that. Minnesota +7, huh? Let's see. No, I gotta go with the Rams. Anyway. Sunday's game, Cincinnati 2-1, 1-1 on the road, going into Atlanta, face the Falcons 1-2, 1-1 at home. Atlanta by 5.5.
Cincinnati +5.5.
This is another tough game. Cincinnati, they both lost last week. Falcons threw up 37 points. I think Cincinnati's defense is better than New Orleans is, but that's not saying much. Atlanta's home again. I think I'm going to take Atlanta -5.5. You're taking Cincy, right?
Yes.
Okay. Tampa 2-1, 1-0 on the road, going in to face Chicago 2-1, 1-0 at home. Chicago favored by 3.
Tampa +3.
I agree. It's going to be a very close game, though. Well, Chicago's offense is poor,
but
so
defense
is incredible, yeah. But I think unless Fitzpatrick throws interceptions left and right, I think Tampa wins the game. Detroit 1-2, 0-1 on the road, going in to face Dallas 1-2, 1-0 at home. Dallas favored by 3.
Detroit +3.
I agree. I think Detroit will win that game because Dallas's offense is that bad. Buffalo 1-2, 1-1 on the road, going in to face Green Bay 1-1-1, 1-0-1 at home. Green Bay favored by 9.5.
Buffalo +9.5.
I think Buffalo's going to have a let-up game. I think emotionally they banded together after Vontae Davis. I told you this, what I thought, and you said there's no way in the NFL that'll ever happen. It's not the reason. And it could well not be. But in my own brain, in my own world, I really believe that they all banded together and had their Super Bowl of the year. So I think Green Bay beats them by more than 10. I think Green Bay, yeah. So Green Bay, I have them -9.5. You have Buffalo +9.5. All right, Philadelphia 2-1, 0-1 on the road, going in to face Tennessee and their 86 Bears defense. 2-1, 1-0 at home. Philadelphia on the road, favored by 4.
Oh, take the home dog.
You're gonna take Tennessee +4?
Oh yeah.
I'm taking Philly -4. Texans 0-3, 0-2. You shake your head. I'm gonna dot that game. And we'll see who's shaking our head next week.
Okay.
All right?
Yeah.
Texans 0-3, 0-2 on the road. Going in to face Indy 1-2, 0-1 at home.
Oh, what a great game.
Indy favored by 1. Why does it seem like every year these two teams battle it out? Some quarterback's injured or plays like shit or the teams are garbage. Every year it's the same thing. Indy favored by 1 at home. I'm going to take Houston. I'm going to take Houston to win that.
God.
Houston +1, Indy -1. All right, Dolphins 3-0, 1-0 on the road, going in to face the Pats 1-2, 1-0 at home. Thank God it's a 1 o'clock game, so we don't see this annihilation. Pats 6.5-point favorites. Still,
What?
Yeah, 6.5-point favorites. This is easy. You might as well bet Miami +6.5 all day long.
Yeah, you got to take Miami. I thought it was going to be like 1 or 2 points.
6.5.
Yeah, Miami +2
Yeah,
points.
I'm taking Miami +2 points too. I'd probably take Miami to win. Jets, will it be a blowout? I don't think so, but I think Miami will win. Jets 1-2, 1-1 on the road, going in to face Jacksonville, and their amazing offense, 2-1, 1-1 at home. Jacksonville favored by 7.5.
Jacksonville -7.5.
Taking the Jets plus the points. As you're looking at the sky, you're taking Jacksonville -7.5, right?
Mm-hmm.
4:05 game. The Cleveland Browns, who could be 3-0, 1-1-1 though, 0-1 on the road. Facing the Oakland Raiders, 0-3, 0-1 at home. Oakland favored by 2.5.
Oakland -2.5.
Yeah, I think Oakland's talent will win this game versus Cleveland's just inexperience. Although Baker, who knows? Baker Mayfield could put on a show. But yeah, Oakland -2.5, I agree. Seahawks 1-2, 0-2 on the road, going into Arizona to face the 0-3, 0-2 Cardinals at home. Seattle only favored by 3.
Seattle -3.
Yeah, that should be. If Seattle loses that, they're done. 425 games. Saints 2-1, 1-0 on the road, going in to face the Giants 1-2, 0-1 at home. Schilling will be pumped for that game. New Orleans favored by 3.5 on the road against the Giants.
New Orleans -3.5.
I have a feeling New Orleans is going to murder the Giants. You've taken New Orleans, yeah?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. All right. 49ers with C.J. Beathard.
Oh, boy.
1-2, 0-2 on the road, going in to face the Chargers 1-2, 0-1 at home. Chargers favored by 10.
Oh.
These spreads are pretty sexy, huh?
Chargers. I'm going to take
-10.
the Niners +10.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Ugh.
That's a lot of points.
I'm going to take Chargers -10. You're taking 49ers +10, yeah?
Yep.
8:20 Sunday night game. Ravens 2-1, 0-1 on the road, going into Pittsburgh to face the Steelers. 1-1-1, 0-1 at home. Steelers favored by 3.
Baltimore +3.
I agree. And then the Monday night game, Kansas City 3-0, 2-0 on the road, going to face Denver 2-1, 2-0 at home. Kansas City favored on the road by 4.5.
Kansas City -1.5.
I agree. If what they did to Denver, or wait a minute, what they did to, no, I'm thinking of Baltimore, never mind. Yeah, that's my point. If Baltimore goes in and puts that many points up on Denver.
Baltimore was home.
Still, I think Kansas City will be
Denver's a different team
at home. I know, Mile High and the whole deal, and people are literally dying because they don't have any oxygen. All right, so let's go right into the week 4 picks, and we're gonna call. Dow was asking you about this the other day, wasn't he?
When's EDP coming?
When's EDP coming on? I can't get enough.
EDP.
Yeah,
loves him. I think he's gonna get an EDP tattoo.
Well, I know he wants one of my shirts that I showed him.
Yeah.
The EDP445 shirt. I still have those.
Yeah, why don't you? They're coming to town in a couple of weeks, so maybe you can bring one from my dad.
Yeah, I have one right here. I have one right here for him.
Or my mom.
What am I doing here? I gotta call this guy. So what are we doing? Here's what we're doing.
Hopefully he's feeling better than the last couple.
Oh well, he got into me off camera about what was going on.
Oh.
I think he is. Yeah.
Okay, good.
Yeah. Hey, what's up, man? How you doing, man?
Yeah, give me 1 second. Hold on. Cool. Alright, I'll see you in a second. Alright, cool. No problem.
Oh boy. Just got a female caller.
Sorry about that.
Sure, you're fine, man. So what's happening, man? So last week, you went 8-8. You had a big bounce back week from that 5-11 week. And I went 9-7. Mclovein went 7-9. So good job finishing in the middle there, second place. We got a huge slate.
And he took Buffalo.
He took Buffalo, yeah. Yeah, good job taking Buffalo.
Oh, shit, I took Buffalo?
Yeah, you did.
I fucking believe in him.
So, this is the best game of the week. Thursday night. You got the Vikings, who just got, I don't know how that's possible, but the Vikings got annihilated by the Bills. At home, by the way. But they're 1-1-1 ADP. They're going in to face the Rams. Who do you got in that game?
I'm going to take the Vikings, man.
Rams.
Okay. So he is Minnesota. We both have the Rams. All right. Then we got Sunday's game. Cincinnati goes in to face Atlanta.
I'll take Cincinnati.
Atlanta.
I also have Atlanta. Tampa goes in to face Chicago.
Chicago.
Tampa.
I also take Tampa. Detroit goes in to face Dallas.
Detroit, man.
Dallas.
I'm also taking Detroit with EDP. Buffalo goes in to face Green Bay.
Buffalo.
Green Bay.
Yeah, I'm taking Green Bay too. Your Eagles go in to face the 86 Bears Titans defense. Gave up 6 points to Jacksonville last week. Titans are home playing incredible football, and they're, experts picked the Titans to probably make a deep AFC championship run because they're amazing. What do you got in the Eagles-Titans game?
Tennessee.
I'm taking your Eagles.
So I hope you're all right, bud.
Yeah. Houston and Indianapolis. Who do you got there?
Indianapolis.
Taking Houston. Miami against the Patriots. Who do you got, EDP?
Miami.
New England.
I'm taking Miami. You should, EDP, when you watch this video, I went on a Patriots rant. You know I'm a diehard fan, but I went off on them. And you'll listen to it's probably 3/4 of the way into the video, okay?
Okay.
All right, Jets goes in to face Jaguars. Who do you got?
Jets and Jaguars. Oh, shit. I'm going to take Jacksonville, but I can also see it being an upset, but I'll take Jacksonville.
Jacksonville.
Yeah, we're all taking Jacksonville. Next game, Cleveland goes in to face Oakland.
Cleveland.
Oakland.
Yeah, I'm taking Oakland too. EDP is Cleveland. Seattle goes in to face Arizona.
Seattle.
And your Pete Carroll's gums.
Yeah.
And what is it, the bomb squad too, right?
Hell yeah, #bomb squad. We ain't fucking around.
Dodd doesn't like to fuck around either.
No, he doesn't.
New Orleans and the Giants, who do you got?
New
Orleans.
Yeah, we all have New Orleans. 49ers and Chargers.
Chargers.
I also have the Chargers. Oh, my allergies. Baltimore and Pittsburgh. In Pittsburgh.
Oh, fuck. Oh, shit. Yeah, come back to me.
All right.
First.
Pittsburgh.
I'm taking Baltimore.
Baltimore.
And then the last game, Kansas City goes in to face Denver.
That'll be a good ass game. I'll take Kansas City.
Kansas City.
Yeah, we all have Kansas City. EDP, thanks a lot
All
this
right.
week, man. Appreciate you. And I couldn't get, here's the problem. I couldn't get Sunday. I was meaning to text you this. I asked for Sunday off so I could fly you out for that Eagles game. And my boss wouldn't let me have it. And because we're where I work, we're expanding where we are, and I got to go train people and everything else. So I couldn't get the Sunday off, and I was pissed. So that's why, obviously, that's not happening. But later on in the year, if I can get some time off with this, with me training basically people who can cover for me when I'm gone, I'll see if we can fly you out to an Eagles home game or something like that, or whatever the case may be.
Oh, man, it's all good, man. I appreciate it, man. Like, no worries at all, man. I understand.
All right, man. We'll talk to you next week, man. And remember, watch the video when you get a chance. Remember to go. It's about 3/4 in. You'll love it because a Patriots fan is basically shitting on his own team because of how bad they are.
Yeah,
So,
it's unfortunate.
all right, man. Take it easy, man.
All right, you too, man. Appreciate you guys for having me on.
All right, later.
All right, man.
All right, guys. That's week 4.
Okay.
Go fuck yourself.